They said it couldn't be done.
Somehow go through there too wide successfully.
They claimed that we didn't belong.
Drivers are trusting the racetrack.
But when we showed up, we owned these streets. Born from the iRacing video game, the idea of the street race was beyond what we ever thought was possible. NASCAR was a baby elephant chained to the proverbial post. We had never run a street race before, but Ben Kennedy, the great-grandson of NASCAR founder Bill France, was ready to break the chains, and much like his grandfather Bill France Jr., he was ready to take NASCAR to new heights. It was that determination that let the elephant run free and gave NASCAR their own field of dreams amongst the skyscrapers and landmarks of one of America's biggest cities. But NASCAR's history in Chicago goes way beyond the streets. For 19 seasons, the Cup Series competed just up the road in Joliet at the Chicagoland Speedway, which saw 13 of their 19 races be won by NASCAR champions. And that's not all. Have you ever heard of a little place called Soldier Field? Yeah, that Soldier Field. NASCAR had their run there too, running a Cup Series race inside the famed football stadium back in 1956. It was won by the ever-popular Fireball Roberts. The inaugural street race didn't exactly go off without a hitch. Record amounts of rainfall hindered pre-race activities, but just as we thought all hope was lost, the skies cleared, the Goodyear slicks were traded in for white-walled treads, and the streets of Chi-Town, no longer lined with Priuses, Malibus, and old Crown Vics, but instead the thunder of NASCAR, echoed through Grant Park, made waves in Lake Michigan, and shook the foundation of the Windy City. What was supposed to be impossible became the highlight of NASCAR's 75th anniversary, historic for reasons beyond just the first street race. Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. We're back again for the second annual Chicago Street Race. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Motor Small Blade presents your Bandwagoner's Guide for the Grant Park 165. Last year we caught lightning in a bottle, and these drivers look to go against the old adage and prove that lightning can strike twice. These are the Street Race Rookies. Xfinity star Austin Hill is in a third car for Richard Childress Racing. He looks to improve on his two previous starts in the Cup Series this season of 33rd and 38th. Ford Performance Factory driver Joey Hand joins forces with RFK Racing and their Stage 60 program. Joey is a prolific road racer in the IMSA series with 2 victories in the Rolex 24 at Daytona to his credit. Kaz Grala returns to Rick Ware Racing's number 15 entry. Grala is none too shabby at road courses as he made his Cup Series debut on the Daytona road course in 2020, where he scored a top 10 finish. Zane Smith is hot on the heels of a career-best second-place finish at Nashville Superspeedway last weekend. Zane has 2 career road course victories in the Truck Series at Circuit of the Americas. It's been a bit of a sophomore slump for John Hunter Nemechek as he holds the unfortunate record of being involved in the most incidents this season. He does have 2 top 10s on the season, and the Legacy Motor Club driver looks to add a third in his first run at the street race. We should never question the speed of rookie Carson Hocevar, but his maturity, rightfully so, is under much scrutiny. He spun out Harrison Burton intentionally under caution at Nashville last week and has received a $50,000 fine and a deduction of 25 points. It's safe to say Carson Hocevar is just looking for a clean day in the Windy City. This may be Daniel Hemrick's first run at the street race in the Cup Series, but he did contest the Xfinity Series race here last season with a strong top 10 finish. The 2021 Xfinity Series champion looks to match or maybe even better the 31 car's performance from last year's street race of second place. The confidence couldn't be higher for rookie standout Josh Berry. He's on the doorstep of his first Cup victory, and if that wasn't good enough, the Tennessee native just inked a deal to drive the famed Wood Brothers 21 car next season. The inaugural street race proved to be one of the toughest tests for the Cup Series field, and these drivers are ready for a rematch against the grueling terrain of the Windy City. Motorsports Business Management taps road course ace Josh Bilicki to drive their number 66 car. Bilicki's NASCAR career started with a cold call to an owner looking for a driver. Since then, he's propelled that phone call into nearly 100 Cup Series starts. With the announcement that Josh Berry will take over the 21 car next year, it's safe to say that second-generation star Harrison Burton is fighting for his career. He rolls into the street race on a mission to prove his worth at NASCAR's highest level. Of current full-time Cup Series competitors, Corey LaJoie holds the record of most starts without a victory. And turning right and left hasn't been Corey's strong suit, but maybe, just maybe, he's stacked enough pennies to score that first top 10 finish on a road course. The future is uncertain for Modified Series champion Ryan Preece. His current team of Stewart-Haas Racing is downsizing from 4 entries to just 1 next season, and his audition to become the face of the new rebranded Haas Factory team continues this weekend in Chicago. The word of the weekend for Austin Dillon is survival. Road courses have been his kryptonite. He finished 36th in this race last year, and he's had a tumultuous 2024 season. If Dillon can complete all the laps and keep his nose clean, that would be an overachieving day for driver number 3. Another driver just looking to survive is 2023 Daytona 500 champion Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He may have ended up windshield deep in the tire pack at the end of last year's street race, but it was no indication of his overall performance. He looks to finish what he started and better his result from last season. Piloting King Richard Petty's famed 43, it's that Jones boy. Eric Jones has 3 career Cup Series victories to his credit, 2 of them coming at NASCAR's most grueling oval, Darlington Raceway. He hopes to add a victory at NASCAR's most grueling road course this weekend. In the midst of his best Cup season yet, Todd Gilliland enters the Chicago street race with confidence. His best career Cup Series finish came on a road course, and he's slated to be the lead driver at Front Row Motorsports next season. If there was ever a dark horse, Todd Gilliland is him. For Noah Gragson, it's all about perspective. If the glass is half full, it can't be worse than last year.
The teammate to that black 43 car at the bottom of the screen, luckily, the yellow car
helped him get out of that tire barrier.
Much higher than the cars around him.
Backs it into the tire barriers.
One thing's for certain, Noah will have to show up ready to conquer his biggest rival, Turn 6 at the Chicago street course. When Stewart-Haas Racing announced they would close their doors at the end of the 2024 season, it was Chase Briscoe, the first one to find a new home for next year. Christopher Bell broke the news just a few weeks ago that Chase Briscoe would take over the number 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's clear Chase is riding the momentum of that announcement, as he's had 2 close encounters with Victory Lane in the last 2 Cup races at New Hampshire and Nashville. Normally entering a road course, Bubba Wallace would just hope to survive, but that's not the case this time. He sits 51 points below the playoff cut line, so he has to attack in Chicago. Leaning on the experience of his 2 car owners, Denny Hamlin, and former Chicago Bull himself, Michael Jordan, Bubba Wallace hopes to fight his way back into the playoff hunt. Justin Haley's runner-up finish in last year's Chicago street race was no fluke, and with his standout performance at Rick Ware Racing this year, make no mistake, he will be a threat on Sunday. Justin only has 1 career Cup win to his credit, but it came 5 years ago at Daytona, 4th of July weekend. Chris Buescher has come painfully close to Victory Lane in 2024, but enters Chicago without a sticker above his door. And even though the Texas native has never won on a road course, don't count him out. He's finished top 10 in 12 of the last 14 road course races in the Cup Series. There may be only 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Ty Gibbs winning a Cup race. But the question everyone's asking is, when is it gonna happen? Look no further than this weekend. The aggressive driving style it takes to be good at the street race plays right into Ty's wheelhouse, and let's not forget, he did score his first Xfinity Series win on a road course back in 2021. Alex Bowman finished dead f***ing last in last year's Chicago street race. A repeat of that performance would be catastrophic for Bowman, because despite the fact that he's been one of the most consistent drivers in the Cup Series this season, he sits on the playoff bubble. But the Hendrick Motorsports driver has seen success in the Windy City before, as he scored his first ever Cup Series victory at the now dormant Chicagoland Speedway back in 2019. Austin Cindric is going back to the playoffs. The third-year Penske driver will use the experience from his 5 Xfinity road course wins to have another strong run in Chi-Town and build momentum heading to the postseason. Brad Keselowski has 36 victories and a Cup championship, but it's hard to believe he's never won on a road course. He looks to change that this weekend and score his second victory as an owner-driver at RFK Racing. In the past, the term road course ringer normally referred to a road course specialist outside the discipline of Cup that would invade the series when NASCAR would make their occasional right turn. But now that NASCAR turns left and right nearly a quarter of the races throughout the season, some of the weekly stars have earned themselves the title of ringer. Michael McDowell is a 15-year veteran of the Cup Series, but his roots lie in sports car racing, which makes him an imminent threat on road courses. He scored a victory on the Indianapolis road course last season, and he's desperate for a repeat of that performance. AJ Allmendinger may be the most prolific road racer in NASCAR history. He has 13 victories across the Xfinity and Cup Series, and he's no stranger to street racing. If anyone has ever earned the title of ringer, it's the Dinger. With the luck Kyle Busch has right now, this weekend it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up off course and the wrong way down a one-way street. He's finished 27th or worse in 5 of the last 7 Cup Series races, but he is a 2-time Cup champion and has 4 road course wins on his resume. Maybe this is the weekend Kyle Busch can turn things around. If Ross Chastain wins on Sunday, don't be surprised if he's at the top of the Sears Tower with a watermelon ready to drop. The watermelon farmer turned race car driver scored his first career Cup victory on a road course at Circuit of the Americas, and he looks to repeat the performance of his teammate from last season. At one point in his illustrious career, Martin Truex Jr. was considered the king of the road. The 2017 champion hopes to bask in that former glory and score a victory in what will be his final Cup season. Monterrey, Mexico's Daniel Suarez scored his maiden Cup victory at the road course in Sonoma back in 2022. The Trackhouse Racing driver is playoff bound after scoring the victory in the infamous 3-wide photo finish at Atlanta earlier this season. After 5 overtime attempts and the economy run of the century, Joey Logano is a winner again. He punched his ticket to the playoffs last weekend in Nashville, and what's even more dangerous for the competition is Joey is no stranger to road course victory lane, scoring a victory at Watkins Glen back in 2015. Defending Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney has been the most dominant car in the Cup Series for the last month. He scored a victory in Iowa, and if the 12 team can get the strategy right, the inaugural Charlotte Roval winner could be the second winner of the Chicago Street Race. Ring the siren, it's Dawsonville, Georgia's Chase Elliott. NASCAR's most popular driver is the most dominant on road courses, scoring 7 wins throughout the balance of his career. He finished 3rd in the street race last year and is hoping to climb 2 steps higher and score his second win of 2024. It's hard to put more pressure on Tyler Reddick than he puts on himself, but this is Chicago and his team owner is Michael Jordan. Tyler finished 2nd last weekend in Nashville and is one of the best road racers currently in the Cup Series. He's hoping to have a monster day and unleash the beast on the streets of Chicago. It's an unprecedented occurrence. 4 different drivers have 3 victories each just halfway through the Cup season. And William Byron's 3 trips to victory lane might be the most impressive. He won the Daytona 500, led a trio of Hendrick drivers to a podium sweep at Martinsville, and put an old-fashioned butt-whooping on the field at the first road course of the season at Coda. William Byron and his Rainbow Warriors, led by crew chief Rudy Fugle, will be a force to reckon with on Sunday. Christopher Bell is having a career year, tying his full season win total just 19 races through 2024. He's established himself as a championship threat, he's challenging to be the lead driver at Joe Gibbs Racing, and he already has 2 road course victories in his Cup career. And oh, by the way, he led the most laps in last year's Chicago Street Race. Pearson and Petty, Gordon and Earnhardt, and now Larson and Hamlin. Make no mistake, this is the rivalry of our generation. The mind games of Denny Hamlin have been actions detrimental to Kyle Larson. Hamlin's 3 wins at Bristol, Richmond, and Dover have been living proof that he is all in for a championship in 2024. It was Hamlin who won the pole for the Chicago Street Race in 2023, and he's looking to finish where he started last year. Kyle Larson hails from Elk Grove, California, but he lives rent-free in Denny Hamlin's head. His talent level is unmatched in the Cup Series, and his willingness to race anything, anywhere, anytime is why he's regarded as the greatest race car driver in the world. A duel between Hamlin and Larson on the streets of Chicago would be one for the ages and a sneak peek into the fight for this year's Cup title. But if you're going to win the Chicago street race, you're going to have to cross the unlikeliest of territories, New Zealand, specifically the Pride of Auckland. 39 drivers have hopes of winning the street race, but only one driver knows he can. He is Shane van Gisbergen.
He has navigated the streets of Chicago to perfection. The final time, onto the front stretch. He comes to the checkered flag. He's won the very first street race in NASCAR.
His win in the inaugural Chicago street race was unprecedented in modern-day NASCAR. He became the first driver in 60 years to win in his Cup Series debut and the first ringer in over 50 years to emerge victorious over NASCAR seasoned veterans. Since then, SVG has become a full-time competitor in NASCAR, leading laps in 4 out of his 5 Cup starts and scoring 2 victories in the Xfinity Series. The 3-time Australian Supercars champion wasn't just a mystery to Chicago or NASCAR, he was a mystery to the entire Western world. A year ago, America learned the name Shane van Gisbergen, and he went out and demanded we respect it. The greatest challenge in modern-day NASCAR awaits the Cup Series field in Grant Park. 75 laps, 75 times the Cup Series finest will barrel down Columbus, take the left onto Balboa, right down the scenic route of Lakeshore Drive, wrap around to the south side of Columbus, the east side of Balboa, onto Michigan Avenue. They make the pass through Congress Loop, down East Jackson, and right back home to Victory Lane. NASCAR, this is your street race, and Chicago, this is your NASCAR.